one of the biggest question marks of 2024 right now is Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, because a lot of hardcore Rocksteady fans have been kind of on it because it's not anything like Arkham Knight. It's a looter shooter, a live service game with a battle pass. I mean, it's very different from what they've done before, and it's not the kind of game Rocksteady fans have come to know and love from them. So there's a lot of skepticism around it, a lot of suspicion and doubt. I'm still hoping it's great. I look at it and I don't see a game that I'm going to be playing for thousands of hours, which is kind of the goal of a live service game. So in that regard, I think it's already kind of failed, because I've not seen anybody that's like, I can't wait to spend months playing this. Everybody's like, I might play it for the story and then stop. And for a live service game, that doesn't work.
Yeah, but no, I always think, like, also looking at the sort of DLC discussion we had in the previous episode, where I think they're always banking on having this big launch, and then they know that only like a small percentage, maybe 10% or a bit more, will stick around for longer. Obviously, with a live service game, it's different, but I also think that it would be a huge achievement if they can have it both ways. If they can have a game that people play for the single player and they still paid the same amount of money, and they're only engaged with the single player, and they left and they're like, this was great, thank you, I hope you make a Batman single player game next, but I'm not angry at you anymore. And then the people that want to stick around and want to play the new character when it comes out or whatever, those people are there as well. They want to grind for new minigun, for King Shark. Those people are there as well. So I think that would already be great, because I think Avengers didn't do both. They tried both, but they failed at both. So,
and that's where it's just going to be, you know, some people have gotten the chance to play it through an alpha playtest or a beta playtest. I forget which one it was, but some people have gotten to play it already. We've seen plenty of trailers. They've shown, by their own admission, spoilers for the story and stuff in the most recent drop that they did. So people, I think, are starting to get a really good feel for the game. I think the question mark is just, is the story compelling enough for people to actually want to see it through and finish it?
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that's the question, is, do you think that Suicide Squad kind of surprises everybody and ends up being pretty good? And, you know, there will always be haters and people that don't really give it a fair shot. But do you think that it's able to buck that expectation?
I think the people that are not expecting any story or any like good, because I think I still think that the trailers did not do a great job at showing the story or what the more linear or whatever missions will be like, because I do think that the game will have those, and they of course have a huge cast. We're going after all the Justice League members, so it's probably going to be a pretty big game. And so far they haven't shown any like exciting what that will be like. We saw small snippets of like the boss fights, but overall it has really been jumping around, shooting purple aliens, and that's kind of it.
The way I do think I'm just going to say this because I can't get out of my head, and I'm going to tell you, and then you're never going to be able to unsee it, okay? The way somebody described it to me was that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is just a game where you swing around shooting purple zits and popping them. And now that I've heard that, every time I watch the gameplay footage of them shooting these big purple glowing weak spots, it's really hard to not see it as just giant glowing zits. So... You're welcome.
Oh my god. Fighting puberty, the game.
Fighting puberty, the game.
Okay, but no, but again, like going back to it, I do think that people that are not expecting a story will hopefully be surprised. But I think that the live service crowd will get in there and be like, oh, they're making the same mistake as Game X. Because again, it's Rocksteady. They probably have tested everything, but there will always be this sort of balance issue or whatever, and I'm just afraid that and I hope that it won't like hammer the single player progression where you have to have gear score X to fight Batman or whatever. Like, I really hope you're just able to follow the main missions and get out. But I am afraid that the sort of content they have there to be grinded out, that won't be as exciting.
So, I'm braced for grind. I've never seen a looter shooter game that's not grindy. it's built into the core DNA of it. Like, I just don't think it's going to be any different.
Yeah, but I hope it's like an end game thing. But
yeah,
not, like,
maybe if they do that
yeah.
with like Shadow of War, where they're like, yes, it is heavily monetized, and yes, you do have to grind a lot, but you can get through the story and then leave it. That would be better. I still think that the PR nightmare will exist, because as we saw with Shadow of War, the grind was mostly relegated to the end game, and still people dismiss the entire game as a result of that, and I think justly so. Real quick, everybody, I'm going to put in chat, both of the chats, a poll. I just want to know what all of you listening live think of Suicide Squad. Do you think that this is able to surprise people and it'll actually be good, or do you think it's going to suck? Let's see. We're going to let the votes
there's
come
no in between. Okay.
There's no in between. I'm just asking what you think, okay? Don't worry, we're not taking any of this to the bank. We're just
and if no, it will suck wins, then I do think that people are going in with the right expectations if they're gonna pick it up in the first place, and then I hope it might surprise people.
Yeah. It's with all this, of course, my channel has taken the approach of like, let's be skeptical. And I think people often get skepticism mixed up with cynicism. They think that being skeptical of something just means being a hater, dismissing it, shooting it down constantly. All it means is that you don't buy into something until there's sufficient evidence for that something. So if you're telling me buy Suicide Squad, it's going to be great, I need to see the evidence that that's going to be the case. And when there's a lot of evidence showing red flags everywhere, that doesn't actually do that for me. For me, it's actually now on the meter of expectation and interest, I'm dropping. I'm getting lower,
But what I'm like overall, that's kind of my takeaway, is that people are still like excited to talk about this, even though it is maybe in a bad light. And I do think that has the game going for it. People still care. So that I think will work out, because there are games like this. I mean, Skull and Bones is a great example. There was like this leak on the Reddit for leaks and rumors. And someone like wrote out this whole like, I played the beta, I'm not supposed to talk about it. Or I have like played a newer version, whatever. This is everything that is coming to Skull and Bones. And people in the comments were like, nobody is going to make this up. So sure, it's real, right? Even though they didn't have a source. And I feel that people just don't care. And I think that is a like Suicide Squad, even though a lot of people are like, this sucks, people are still interested. And I do think that if you are the person who can put up all the cutscenes on YouTube as the first one, rank in some views. I think people will just watch the cutscenes.
For real, I do think you're right. It is something that they have going for them, is that there is interest. And it's the same thing with like Starfield, all this. Like 3 months after the fact. Yeah, we all love bashing on Starfield. I'm passionate about it. It's basically a hobby of mine at this point. But part of it is because people still love talking about it. People still love thinking about it, seeing it, discussing it. And I think that's because the fans actually do care. I mean, we all joke, Todd Howard, cringe, tell me sweet little lies. We joke about that stuff. But I think it's because we're coming from the position of fans or former fans, and we want the game to be awesome. We want these games to be great. We want them to surprise us and to live up to the hype. And when they don't, it hurts. And with Suicide Squad, I think it's a similar thing where Rocksteady fans are hardcore. I'm one of them. I freaking love the Arkham trilogy. I love those games. And to see them now having to make a live service looter shooter is just frustrating, because I know what they're capable of, and this is just, I feel that this is beneath them. Now, maybe we get the game and it ends up being way better, and it's like, actually, this isn't beneath them. This is their best work. That would be my hope. But the fact that there's even a question is what's really disappointing. Because with Arkham Knight, we saw the trailers, we saw the gameplay, and everybody's like, wow, Rocksteady has taken the knobs, turned it up. The combat looks amazing. Graphically, it looks amazing. The narrative, cutscenes, everything seems great. And the game ended up being really great. Yeah, there were a couple of hiccups here and there with the bat tank, but all told, it was a great game.
Did you see the vehicles in Suicide Squad as well?
Yeah, well, so with Suicide Squad, they made an offhand comment in one of the first like little trailer deep dive things that they did, where they said, and we even have extra characters, support characters that are coming to do things like sell you weapons, upgrade your stuff, and even allow you to customize the bus and the cars that you can take with you into, like battle or whatever. And I was like, that's interesting. So is this like a fully open world where you're traveling in like a bus that you can customize to go through the world? And then we saw it in the recent thing, and it's like, it's basically just a power up you can unlock, like a call or a kill streak in Call of Duty. And it's just like, oh, call it in, you shoot with it. It's a just gigantic weapons platform for a machine gun. And then it blows up, and then you have to redeem it again before you can use it again. It's that interesting. Something I was interested in.
I was hoping it was like
worse.
A battle bus.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That would be like, I mean, we all have the same like sort of movement and traversal. So
yeah, but I mean, it's an example of just you think it's gonna be. Every time I've seen more of Suicide Squad, I end up being a little bit more disappointed, and that's not the direction you should be going.
No. But I'm keeping an open mind. I hope there's like an open beta.
That's, I think, the easy layup. That's what they need to do. They did the alpha. It all leaked anyways. Just let people play it. Like, what are we doing?
I think so. I think that will be smart.
Immature than you. Thank you for becoming a member, by the way.
Yeah, thanks.
And then Raiden, also thank you for the super chat. Speaking of Shadow of War, do you guys think we'll get any news about the Wonder Woman game by those devs this year, or is it dead in the water? Kind of touched on it earlier. I think it makes sense that we see it because it's been so long.
But see it like and release it. It's weird that they skipped Game Awards, but that might be because they want to have Suicide Squad in the minds of people, and having like another DC game fight for the attention doesn't make sense. So my hope is that in April, after Suicide Squad has launched, we get this big blowout. This is the game. Bam, play it in September. That would be great. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
But
they've been working for a while. It makes sense.
Yeah, you would hope so. Want to do some like smaller sort of? I mean, let's do the poll first to round the Suicide Squad topic out.
Yeah, just to wrap it all up, you guys voted, and 77% of you are saying you expect it will suck. 22% of you saying it'll be good. Which at the end of the day, that's just a perception that's also reflected in the trailer, like to dislike ratio. It's reflected in the general response people have had. Like if I just pull up this, I haven't looked at this beforehand. But yeah, just in this most recent video they posted 8 days ago, the view count is surprisingly low. It's only 64,000 views for this whole thing.
But probably IGN reposted or something.
Probably. This is the verified account, though. It's just very surprising. I would have expected the.
Yeah, but it doesn't have a lot of.
It doesn't have many subs. Maybe like you said, the IGN 3 weeks ago, the Game Awards trailer did 300,000. DC's official one. This one, No More Heroes trailer. That's also the Game Awards trailer, I think. So yeah, sometimes it does good views, but their internal like Meet the Suicide Squad support team isn't doing too hot. And even on this hub, which is like a centerpiece for their fans, it has a majority of dislikes. 3.1k dislikes to 2.9 upvotes. And these are normally hidden. I have an extension to reveal it. So they have to shake the expectation, which is that everybody's braced for it to be kind of lackluster. And if the game ends up being great, that's awesome.
I would love that, because again, like we talked about, I think after March it will be a drought again. So April, May, June, July, and then in August we know we have Black Myth Wukong. I think that will be it's really similar to 2022 where, and then the first big game was Saints Row. We of course know how that turned out, but it was like a really, really front loaded, and then at the end we still had some bangers as well, and it seems like 2024 will be that too.
He took my thing.